get back up and have the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'd like to welcome everybody to the October 8th regular town board meeting here at Town Hall. We'll have the roll call for the board.
Brianna Pitcock present.
Rex Snyder present.
Nathan Ulrich is present. Both Dan Wicker and Gene Gabbard are absent tonight. First up, we do have a guest town resident with us, Dwayne Kaiser. Got an open burning complaint. What have you got tonight for us, sir?
Well, I was just wondering, what can a person burn? When can they burn it? When is it a nuisance? And what I really want is I want to be able to sit outside in the evening and, drink some tea or something without smelling a bunch of smoke.
Sure.
Or wake up at night smelling smoke, trying to figure out whether my house is on fire or something else is going on.
Well, it has to be enclosed in a ring or some kind of contraption.
Right.
And wood products, I think it has it on here.
Yeah, new ordinance, we got what we need to talk through, I guess, figure what we're gonna do.
Do you feel that this smoke is wood material or something else?
I don't have to know that. Without going there and looking in there and see what's in there. The thing about it is, it's not just one person. I look around, there's all kinds of people doing that. Some of the people that are complaining to us have burn barrels in the backyard. So,
Now, I will say, and it might be a gray area, Bob, that one particular person that seems to be a constant nuisance, a lot of his burning actually happens inside of his garage. It comes out of the smokestack out of the roof, obviously. But it doesn't smell like a wood product to me. It's more like maybe a petroleum substance, just a very, what I would call a hazardous type of smelling smoke. But it's not outside where anybody can see it.
Yeah, I'm not sure that, if it's inside, it's an open burning, if it's, I suppose if you had a fireplace or something, that could be a different code or state law that you're burning something.
I mean, obviously, it's not for heating purposes, it's for disposal purposes.
Yeah. We'd have to research that, see how we do it. There's gotta be a way. Especially if it's a repeat offender. So you think it's always inside?
Most of the time, I mean, there's been some outside fires that we've extinguished, for the, underneath the nuisance. And a couple of times actually unattended. And, the police have been there. That's kind of what started that conversation about being able to enforce the local ordinance.
Let me research that and see exactly what we could cite that person for.
I was hoping the officers would be here tonight, but
you were over there at one of the guys' places a couple of times in the
yeah,
evening.
we've been there multiple times.
Yeah. What did you see there?
Well, one night I think we were burning mattresses and so forth, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's always something that shouldn't be going on, and we've had law enforcement involved. Some of the issue in the beginning was they had trouble actually issuing the town ordinance because of the tickets. So they would, like in their vehicles, they only had state tickets on their computers.
Yeah.
To where now, I guess they've got actual paper tickets where they can actually enforce our local ordinance that's not coming from the state. So they can now do that. But I don't know if they've been over since then.
Well, who enforces your city
The
ordinances?
Cambridge Police Department, we actually have a full contract with them. So they
So-
provide 24/7 coverage for us.
So they patrol that area, they
Yes.
can see what's going on?
Yep.
So you would call in a complaint to them.
Well, Nathan gave us a phone number, but when we call that, the fire department shows up.
That's because they dispatch us.
They
yeah.
dispatch both.
Yeah, and it goes
Yeah.
like that, they'll illegal burn, they'll Call us.
Because if it is illegal, they are in charge of
The fire department
distinguishing it,
is.
yes.
Yeah.
And most of the time, we have the couple of addresses that we automatically have the police go with us on because we've had these issues.
Yeah,
So you're usually coming with us. Like I say, the one night we went down there, he was nowhere to be found,
yeah,
so I asked him to come back later after he come home and have a chat with him, so.
Yeah.
Whether they did, I can't confirm or deny, so.
yeah. Well, well, like my wife goes there or something, normally he's pretty nice. He says, okay, I'll put it out.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah, anytime, I mean, number 3 where it says creating a nuisance, I mean, that's usually gonna be our ticket. Especially if we're trying to sit outside and if you got asthma, I can understand that personally.
Yeah.
You don't wanna be inhaling all that.
so, I hate to call and have the whole fire department show up for a,
Well, sometimes it's necessary, but don't be afraid to call. Has it been an issue here recently, like in the past month or so?
yeah, maybe a couple of weeks ago or
I
something.
mean, hopefully you didn't do anything during the burn ban, cause that can get really,
Well, somebody
Trouble.
said he did, but I didn't see it, so.
Damn, too bad you didn't catch that.
And then, the last time he was doing it, Rick Newton went over in the middle of the afternoon. I guess he was a little grumpy with him. And then at about midnight that same night, Bev went over and he wasn't. Normally he's real nice. He said, "Okay, I'll put it out." But then he was a little grumpy about it. So I mostly don't want that to get any more than that.
right.
So,
Yeah, if it starts getting more into disorderly conduct, we need to keep the law enforcement involved on that.
Yeah, I mean, you have gone to the point where you have tried to handle it personally,
yeah.
and if it's not working, then that's when you call that number.
Oh.
And let, and like they said, they will call police and fire, both will respond and let them handle it. Because the thing about that is you have documentation, so when you get so many complaints and so many illegal issues, then it's documented and we can go to tickets and other issues besides just, getting rid of the fire.
Yeah. Well, I tell the neighbors, I said, as long as it's just Bev and I complaining, that's one thing, but you guys need to be saying something also. It makes a big difference, but I don't think they are.
No, you're the first one I've seen or heard from,
Okay.
but
Well,
it's gotta start somewhere.
Yes.
yeah, we just need to let our police officers know what's going on to keep better eye on it.
And obviously, the more calls you make, essentially you have a paper trail, at that point, so it's, if it starts getting real serious, as far as legal aspects.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, anytime it's creating a nuisance, don't be afraid to call.
And nuisances like, late at night when we think the house is on fire or
Yeah, if you're
Yeah,
sitting,
you-
if you're-
At night is probably when he's burning what he's not supposed to because
No
it's
smoke. yes.
dark and nobody
Yeah.
knows, right?
I would guess that, but
I would
I
assume.
don't know that. so.
Also, that's supposed to start a fire after dark,
right.
so.
Well, that's one of the things I was asking, but there's maybe this one's a little bit different. But it said something that had to be put out by dark, but then there was amendment about,
Well, I think you can't add
Campfires
to
are
it.
different, yeah.
well, this one here says under 4.802, down there on number 4, says all burning shall occur during daylight hours, but then there's amendment to that. It says it replaces
It's got a different
burning
process.
after
It's an
sunset.
old version.
And it just says, instead of after dark, it says no fires should be permitted within 50 feet of a building. So I don't know if that means, you're free to burn after dark or what.
I think a lot of it depends on the kind.
Yeah.
People are allowed to have a campfire as long as they're there, and most people don't do that until it's almost evening anyway.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you can't be, when you come in to get a burn permit to burn sticks and yard waste,
Yeah.
that is a different because you're not supposed to do that without a burn permit, because that is an exception. So
Okay.
they're two different kinds of,
Okay.
but it sounds like he's, not doing either one of those, so.
Yeah,
I don't see anything about after dark.
We'll have my code book here.
Does it need a book?
You got a book?
yeah, this one you just gave me is a little different than the one you
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
see anything
yeah,
about
we kinda
dark.
updated. Like I said, it's supposed to be a 10 year at all times. So,
I'm surprised, Nathan, you don't smell smoke most of the time.
Well, I'm hardly ever home, it's most of my problem.
Oh.
But I have had the cops go circle around there a few times, like I said, some of those nights that I can smell like a oil or something burning.
Yeah.
I know it's not being burnt outside. But I don't know how we can, other than have an IDEM, investigate it.
So that's all I have.
well, like I said, we'll tell our police officers to keep an eye on stuff that way, and if you smell, other than wood burning and stuff, call in.
Okay.
That way we'll have a record of it, and maybe.
But if you're trying to sit outside and have a family event, you're coughing, that's
Yeah.
a nuisance.
Okay.
And if it has lots of smoke and stuff
Smoke,
that
yeah,
doesn't dissipate any, yeah. But, don't wait till the next day to call. If it's happening, that's when you need to
Okay.
call, so they can see it when it's happening.
Okay. But should we ask them just to send the police up to look first before the fire department
No,
shows up?
they'll send both.
They'll
They'll
send
send both,
both,
okay.
just make your complaint and
Okay.
it'll,
They'll handle it from there.
they'll handle it and send who they
Okay.
feel like needs to be there.
All right.
We might advertise this in the paper so people know.
Yeah, and make it clear that we first start the flat-out prohibition that no person shall open burn any material except as provided above. So then, that's 4801. Then 4802 is, okay, these type of fires are permitted, and they talk about what those are, and then they talk about the conditions for those allowable fires. Then 4803 is if a person gets prior approval of the town council, and I think we added or the fire department. Then those are kind of a second special exception, but that needs prior approval for those kind of fires. So you start out with the prohibition that nobody can do it, then it has to fall within either the automatic exceptions or the pre-approval exceptions. And if it doesn't do any of that, but my only concern is when it's open burning may be defined as something inside, and if it's a fire from inside a home or a residence or a building, we may need to use look at some other codes.
So is this limited to one problem child?
Well, mostly, but when I look around, sometimes, it depends on which way the wind's blowing. Sometimes when the wind's coming out of the northwest, there's somebody over there burning sometimes. And this morning I went around to do some work in the church over there, and there was somebody burning over there, over in that area. So, but it's just the one person that bothers us.
Well, I'm saying
the
if
most.
it's just the one person that's really an issue, what about sending them a letter with the ordinance and saying, please keep in mind, can only burn blah, blah, blah. I mean, just lay it out for them as like a courtesy letter.
If it's the one that we have issues with, they've been hand-delivered that letter, and they've been explained it numerous times. As far as driving around, especially during the day, you have people that have come in and gotten a burn permit, and so they are allowed to burn yard waste
Okay.
and stuff, so that might be a different
Okay.
issue.
Well,
But
if
if,
it's within the rules.
yeah,
You know, if
I
they're
mean,
burning mattress or tires, then that's a big no-no.
or if they're burning, a lot of green, and so you have nothing but smoke, and it's not burning down, it's just staying, their whole yard is smoke, then, that's a time to be concerned.
Okay.
So they've been told, but they've never been fined, so they're not gonna stop because there's no repercussions.
As of this point, yes.
Now, the police have their stuff in place, we should be able to find.
And usually money makes a difference.
Right.
Well, thank you, sir. Anything else? Answer
Nothing
all
for
your
me.
questions so far?
Yep.
Okay, well, appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening. All right, next up is we need to approve the minutes from the last month's meeting and the adjustments that are presented to us.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes and adjustments as presented.
There's a motion, there's a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I'll read the police report. Had one animal neglect, we had one business check, one civil dispute, 5 community policings, one disabled vehicle, one verbal domestic, 2 escorts, 1 harassment, 1 burglary of a business, 1 theft investigation, 1 just plain investigation, had 1 lift assist, 1 vehicle accident that had injuries, had 1 reckless driver, had 1 repossession, 1 adult that was shoplifting, had 7 speak with a police officer, had 1 special patrol, had 1 house fire, 1 suspicious activity, 1 suspicious vehicle, 8 traffic stops, 2 tree downs, 1 medical call, 1 unwanted person, 1 wanted person, not sure what the difference is, and 1 welfare check. So had a total of 46 calls for the month of September. Did Jerry give you a fire call? Charlie's not here.
I think Cecil or John was supposed to come and open
So, okay. Well, we'll have the fire report twice next month then, it sounds like. What do you got for a building report tonight, sir?
We have no new permits.
Okay.
So pretty good.
Do you have a superintendent's report?
Yes, I do. You have those.
You want to announce to the public on the hydrant flush dates and the leaf pickup dates?
Yes, leaf pickup. We will be doing leaf pickup on the 21st, I believe. Yeah, the 21st will be start a leaf pickup. We'll probably go for a couple of days.
2 days,
Yeah.
unless you.
We'll probably go a couple of days there, 2 days normally, but just try and have all your leaves out to the curb. At least get them out past the curb a little bit if you can, because it's hard to get that hose sucked around there in the grass. So get them out as far as you can. No sticks. Try and keep the sticks out of there, and I know walnuts are a pain in the hind end for us as well. With the sticks, leaves, and walnuts, you get a mess and it just plugs it up. So let's try and help us out as much as they can. And then we will be doing hydrant flushing on the 28th and probably the 29th, and possibly carry over into the 30th. Just if you turn your water on and it's brown, just kind of flush it out a little bit and let it run for a little bit so it clears up. It's just, we're scaling the pipes and cleaning the pipes out. That's what we hydrant flush for. So that's about it.
Can you give an update on the bucket truck? And we've had some mechanical issues with it.
Put changed the fuel line, rerouted the fuel line, put a steel fuel line from the tank to the pump. And so far it seems to be working. The fuel line it's higher than it was before, so it's farther away from the muffler, so I think, it might have been vapor locking in the fuel line there and getting hot, but so far it's running, so far we're doing good, so we used it today, we used it yesterday, last week.
Most of the street lights replaced, other
Yes.
than the ones that.
Yes, most of the street lights are done, we have a few that we have to have another bucket truck to get tops tore apart and so forth, but we've got, I'd say we probably did a bunch of, probably 95% of them's done, so.
Do you know when, just for the public knowledge, when you will be turning off the water in the park
Probably the end of the month.
at the end of October?
Yep. Yeah, we'll be shutting that off, and we'll also be shutting the cemetery off as well.
Anything else for Lenny on the board? All right, we'll turn it over to Julie for the clerk's report.
You should have your time cards and your fuel report. And as far as my reports, that's all I have until we go down the list of all the other stuff I have.
You have more?
All of that's all mine too.
Okay, we're gonna switch it up and go to old business. First, we're gonna talk about the water rate.
You did introduce that. at the
It was
special meeting.
introduced
And
at,
did you take off that airing and other stuff?
Yes, I did.
I have a clean version of it.
I'm sure yours matches mine. Yeah, took off everything.
You cleaned it up too. And you sent letters to the people who live down?
Yes, I did. Yes, I
Put
did.
it where it's going.
Yes, I did.
I did have a resident, well, not a resident, but one of those folks that lived in Leonard Addition asked me about why they would be paying hydrant rental rates because they don't have a hydrant out there.
If they are within 1,000 feet of a hydrant, then they're charged. If they're not within within 1,000 feet, they are not charged. This is just our ordinance that covers everybody. So there are things in here that will not affect people in Leonard Addition or out Westington. I think Casey's is probably the farthest, or is that where the fire hydrant is?
No, nearest hydrant there would be Center Street. And then after that, that's.
Okay, so most of them aren't charged for it.
Yeah.
If they're not charged for it now, they will not be charged for it in the
I got
future.
the impression that he was, and he was concerned that it was going up, but maybe he's not even paying it and I didn't even realize it.
It really doesn't change.
Yeah, the fire hydrant, fire protection went from 510 to 601. But and it would show up on their bill now. I believe it's,
Maybe we can look at it after.
yeah, I can look that up for you. But if you're not being charged for it now, you will not be charged for it in the future because you have to be within 1,000 feet of a hydrant in order to be charged if you're outside the city limits.
And this is resolution, or excuse me, ordinance 2024-9 that we're looking at tonight for approval. So basically, this would go up in two phases. We'd have a phase go up at what month of this year?
It would start January 1.
Start January. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the next January, would be phase 2.
July.
questions? Okay. Seek approval.
Motion to approve ordinance 2024-9.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, motion passes. Next up is the adoption of the 2025 budget. That is resolution 10-2024. We need to approve that.
I make a motion to accept an ordinance resolution number R10-2024.
Second.
Second, okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 None opposed, motion passes for that. Light program is out to bid.
Well, it's,
There's the specs.
this is the
in front of
specs
us.
so that we can put it out for bid. I wanna put a big thanks out there to Sarah Mitchell, for helping me, go through this process and make sure that we, got everything that we needed, to put in this, and then that was sent to Bob, and he gave us his blessing with that, so,
I like her font, it's a lot bigger.
mhm. So we can, we can put it out for, we can advertise it and get it put out for bid, and then, so if I do that now, we would want to have bids back by our November meeting. Yes, no,
Do you
maybe.
think we have time to get that accomplished? I mean, I don't know what the normal turnaround time is for bids like this, honestly. Lenny, you got any experience with that?
It's a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'd say that's still 3 weeks.
Yeah, usually a couple of weeks. I mean, if they're serious about wanting to get it done and wanting the job, then they'll put the bid in. If they're not, they're gonna push
Gave
it.
you a list of contractors also,
Yes.
so not just advertise, I mean, obviously advertising,
Right,
but you can directly
I can
contact
directly
them.
contact those,
Yeah.
yes.
And I know there is a local person that does it, so
Mhm.
that would be nice if that person
Yeah.
could get it.
Is there a deadline for this light program? Are we looking for time or?
This is different than the other money, so, this is, money that we have gone through the process.
Okay,
So, we're actually ahead of schedule.
okay. I just make sure we don't run out of
Yeah.
time. that we lose it.
No,
Okay.
no, this is different than the other
Okay.
grants that we've had. So do we want to have it ready and have bids? Because if, at the November meeting, or 2, 3, 4, 5, that's what, 5 weeks?
So you have the asbestos paperwork?
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'll go with every bid.
Yeah.
On all 3 houses, that test was done, and the EDC actually paid for that, so.
Oh, great. I think November 12th sounds good.
Bob, you're satisfied?
Mm-hmm.
Good deal. That's all I need. Bob's blessing.
Okay, we will
Do
start.
we want a motion on that? Would that be satisfactory?
Do I? Okay, yeah.
I make a motion, we step forward for the light program to remove the houses and stuff as listed.
And approving the specifications?
Yes.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
None opposed, motion passes?
Did you drive by those 3 houses and see anything else that we needed to add?
Just the removal of the vehicles at the one.
Okay,
We will have to, I don't know if we can.
this one out here on Spring Street?
Yeah, I don't know if we need to do something other than just call somebody like, pictures just to come and get them out of here, or what we need to do with that as far as
Probably
legality.
legally, is actually have the police department tag it,
Yeah, we
and that
have.
gives
I would
us,
do that
Process.
because it's really something different than the house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I just have them tag the window.
okay. So that was the only thing that I seen a concern
Okay.
with was just the vehicles, rest of it.
All right, next up is the park.
They are in the process of putting the surface, they've got everything, prepped on the large playground, and I think they were, last time I saw, they were in the process of prepping the small one, getting ready to pour cement for the curbs around it. And then he said they should be pouring in from the time they started 3 weeks, so probably next week sometime, weather permitting. And then it has to cure for 24 hours,
How thick
which is
the-
good.
How thick is the,
It depends on where you are, because where you have the high fall,
okay,
you have at least 4 inches, but you don't need 4 out next to the
okay.
sidewalk and the edges. So. And then once that's done, as I let you guys know earlier, we will have a drone come in and take a picture of ours, and then we'll have that picture put on our sign that we're going to have, and have our new signs made up for both ends of the park. So kind of get both things done and at once. And then we can have our ribbon cutting and invite everybody to come down and get their mug and
Middle of winter, with snow flying
yeah.
I hope not. What's the sidewalk contract? Is that just a copy of it?
Yeah.
You already approved this, right?
No, I guess I need to.
Yeah.
I thought we needed to do something
Okay, that'd
here.
be fine to approve it first,
Okay.
and then send it to him. That's the one I wrote. Mm-hmm. And everybody was happy with the terms in it.
Yeah, I believe so. Anybody have any questions on
They had
that?
the one warranty, that was a question that I added, if that was sufficient.
1-year warranty?
Yeah. And how we did the progress payments, how we held retainage back. So I thought all that was prudent, so we'll see what he says.
Nothing we need to act on tonight?
Yeah,
Approve it tonight so
I'd
that,
approve tonight, I mean, it's, if he fights back, then we can revisit it,
Okay.
but
do I leave?
He has not seen it
this?
yet, though.
he has not seen it.
Okay.
Since we actually discussed it last month, or should I change it for this month's meeting?
No, we can still backdate to that, because
Okay.
at the bottom I say, it's dated as of above, even though signatures may be affixed on different dates.
Okay.
so.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're approving tonight is the sidewalk contract between Dan Davis Excavating and Town of Dublin that we've talked about for the past couple of months.
And it really is with Dan Davis, he is a sole proprietor, this is just an assumed name that he goes by. so.
Okay.
I checked that to make sure he was not incorporated or had an LLC or anything else, and it is just him. so.
Okay.
Okay, motion to approve the sidewalk contract with Daniel Davis, AKA Dan Davis Excavating.
I'll second
And all in favor, aye?
it.
Aye.
Aye.
None opposed, motion passes. And then he'll get a copy of this, and if there's any rebuttal, we'll revisit.
I think he'll be okay with it.
All right, anything else for old business that didn't make the agenda? Okay, going into new business. The only item on the agenda is the salary ordinance. We have that in front of us.
You actually have 2, because I needed to amend the 24 salary ordinance, because Guy is starting out less than what Nick left at,
I
so,
think we got the second part.
should have this one.
We don't have it.
You don't have it?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I haven't seen it, so.
Mr. President, maybe should raise this under old business. I did bring everybody a copy of the letter I wrote to Big B Waste Service.
Okay, yeah, we wanna check that out.
Yeah. I have not heard back, but I didn't get this out till last Friday, so if you want to grab one, pass it down.
And you've already sent it to
I
me, right?
have said if that's okay, I hope
Okay.
that's all right.
Nothing's
Yep.
came back verbally or
Not yet,
written.
no, but they may have just been getting it.
Okay, so
Because
this is -10, this is -7, so what do we?
Right.
Yeah.
They're 2 different ones. -7 is the amendment to 2024 salary, and 10 will be our 2025 salary. And I did put on that one up to, a figure, if we choose to, cause his 90 days is up at the end of this month, so
Yeah,
if you
just
choose
the
to
only
bump
copy you
him
got.
up,
Just the only copy you got?
yeah,
Okay, don't write on it. Oh, you're gonna sign, okay. You go.
She can sign it
Okay,
if she
okay, I didn't
wants
know, I
to.
thought you was figuring something, I'm sorry.
Nope.
All right.
so if we bump him up for 90 days, I just put up to a set dollar amount,
Okay.
depending on what you guys decide to do later for his 90-day. And that one also included, in case we hired a second labor, up to a certain amount to get through the end of the year. I doubt we do this year, but it's included on there, so we don't have to do it again. And the one for next year, we just continued with the 2% that we've been doing the last few years, if that works for everybody. If you want changes made, this is what was presented to everybody.
And you remember off the top of your head when his 90 days is up?
October 28th.
Okay.
And he is getting a raise after 90 days?
That's
Up to-
That's
the
up to you
question.
guys. Yeah.
And you feel that's adequate, he's doing a good job, and
Oh, yeah.
he got through his probation, and I'm good with that.
The, Lenny and the, personnel count, the people that are on, the council that are on personnel
Committee.
committee, can do an evaluation and decide, they can get together and decide if and how much.
Okay.
And we'll bring it back to everybody.
Oh, and then
at the
you'll
time.
retro back pay? Okay, gotcha.
Everybody satisfied with the salary ordinances?
Yep.
You want them both at the same time? Was that sufficient, or should we separate them?
Separate them.
Okay. So first of all, we'll do salary ordinance 2024-10.
I make a motion, we accept ordinance 2024-10.
Second?
Okay, there's motion on the floor, passed second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. So that motion passes.
And now we need a motion for 2024-7 salary
Correct.
ordinance.
And is there a second?
I'll second
Okay, all in favor, aye?
it. Aye.
Aye.
None opposed? That motion also passes. This is the regular copy. If you can just run a copy of that for the folks on the board.
I will.
Thank you. Not just that, get ours.
No, you guys could just do them all at once afterwards,
Okay.
just kind of stack them.
So we have in front of us the letter that Bob sent to Big B Waste Services for constant issues we've had with them, so that's just for your viewing pleasure.
As we talked about the last month's meeting, I did kind of three things on this. One, just told them, of course, as we all know, problems continue. Number two, it was our suggestion that a manager take a ride with them 1 or 2 times to help describe the places that continue to be missed. 3, that if that doesn't help, we're gonna have no option but to seek termination of this contract, and then it would be for cause based on their breach of that. And as a result of that, we should not be paying any early termination fee. And if they tried to contest that in any way, we would even consider asking for additional damages if we have to pay extra to somebody else. So I think we got in everything that we wanted. I did not include, I had it attached with this, I didn't make you guys one, because I think they
They
all
already
seen
had one.
that I included that with them.
Was there very many missed this week? You got any calls?
I only had one call this week. Last week, I think I had 6. We just kind of,
Same people or just?
pretty
Maybe.
much, it's the
Is
same.
the alleys the short alleys is where we're missing most of them? Where we're having most of the problem?
Some of them, I mean, I've got one right on, I've got a couple on 40.
Yeah.
but one is a problem.
Yeah, short out.
But down here, it's just flat out on 40, but he did say that they started going his direction and then they came back up the other side, so they did get him this last week. So my question pertaining to this is, if we choose to bid, once this contract is over, before it renews, we need to start that process in, is it January?
Well, it would depend on when we cancel this. If we're canceling it, we're not really even looking at the terms of the contract.
Okay.
We're canceling in the middle of the contract based on their breach. Now, they may challenge that, we may, I suppose, have to go to court if all else fails. But I wouldn't put it out for bid until we knew one way or the other, either with a voluntary termination of it or a court-ordered termination of it, because until then, we're still under contract technically with them. So, but once we've got that, either a voluntary agreed termination of it or a court-ordered termination, then yes, we would need to bid out again whenever that happens.
Okay, but if they decide, because I know it has an automatic renew on it, if we just, if
Oh,
things,
yeah.
if things go okay,
Then you
but we
want,
would like to consider rebidding it.
then you would want to
At normal
notify
time.
them not to allow that automatic notice to take place. And let me see what that date is on that. The automatic renew unless either party is notified of shooter no not less than 60 days in advance of the expiration date. And so that expiration date, with it being 60 months, would have been 5 years. We're looking at May of '26, so
Okay.
we might mark on
We
the
got it.
calendar of February, March of 2026.
Okay. Especially for someone that would be in the department.
Okay, so is there any questions on that? I did have one, Bob.
Yeah.
Did you send that as regular mail or certified mail?
I just sent a regular mail, so I might, and the other thing is, the only name I actually had, and mainly spelling wise, was the guy who was the sales rep, that Jeremy Lovell. So if we have who their head guy is, we could maybe send a second one as a certified mail to him. Who, do you have that name as far as who their owner is? Who's the top dog?
Dean Guard's he's the.
No, he's just the
He's
supervisor.
the supervisor for the route for transportation.
What's his last name?
Dean Guard, he's just the transportation manager.
G-A-R-D?
G-A-R-E.
G-A-R-D.
Dean Guard.
Yeah, but he's just the manager for the route.
I think Jeremy's kind of over him.
Yeah, Jeremy
So-
is over him.
So it was probably all right to send.
Yes.
Yeah, if St. Jeremy's over him, then that may be the top dog, at least the highest dog that we know of.
I'll see if there's anyone else.
Would this be the time to also talk about the Western Wayne Pleasant? Is that what we're speaking
Western and what?
for? Their transfer of the land.
Oh, yes.
Because
Forgot about that, yeah.
If you're ready to present it, we can talk about it.
well, I don't have anything in writing yet because I had a question to you.
Oh, okay, sure.
And that is, well, kind of to look at the best Is it going to be all of that, or is it going to be a direct line across? And what I mean by that is, that is what was deeded to them right here. This is your water site that you will continue to have.
Right.
Are you wanting just this that is directly west of that, or do you want all of that to go to them? So that the only thing you're keeping is that .44 water tower site with an easement to it, and you want the easement coming across this to get to that, so you can get to that, or do you want to keep all of this for any reason, or is it all?
I think we can go with all of it, as long as we keep that easement up to Maple Street.
So as long as we have an easement to Maple Street and to get to Water Tower will be the only thing that remains in your name.
The same thing about me.
Then the other thing is a little selfish question, and that is, apparently, and you were at the meeting of the board, where it says, they ask about my fees and if the town would share the cost, and I told them probably not. So am I doing this and you guys are not paying me for this? And I just clarify.
No. They are saying, they're asking if we would, if the town would, if we wouldn't pay all of it, if we would split the cost with them. If the town would split your fees.
Oh, yeah, that's what
Western
you're-
Wayne and the town split the fees.
Okay, and what was the probably not, meaning that you probably wouldn't, or that you?
At last we talked,
I think we got basically our impression was that we're giving them the land. that they
So
can
therefore,
take
they
care of
ought to
the
pay
fees.
for my fees,
Yeah.
okay. If they say no, then you guys will.
We'll keep the land and put a pig farm on it.
And I think we do not, because there was a description that went with the lease of it, I don't think there'll need to be a new survey, so I think we're all gonna be good on that, too. So, okay.
Really, it shouldn't be any large cost.
No. So I will keep it to a minimum, but knowing that we're gonna at least submit them the bill, and if they want the land, they're gonna have to pay it. But I still, as a backup, doing this for the town, because you guys asked me to do it, they didn't
Yes.
ask me to do
and that's the way this board
it. Okay.
stated it, that, you know,
That
we are
if they want the
being nice
land, they're
enough
gonna
to give it
reimburse.
to you,
I
so
got you.
you should do that, and
In fact, what we may do is so that there's not a conflict of interest, they would reimburse the town. Their check will be to you guys. So I'll still bill, but they are reimbursing you for anything you have to pay them.
okay.
Is that all
Now,
right?
you can let them know that we cover your costs throughout this meeting to talk about this subject.
That's right. All right, we'll add that.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
And Rex and I are abstaining from all of that.
I don't know any more questions, guys.
Dip it into your pocket now.
We need to talk, yeah, because
No, I
we need
think-
to approve, we need to approve this.
Yeah. God, that's what I don't understand. All this different, I mean,
Yeah.
do you understand all that electronic
No.
banking
No.
mumbo jumbo?
No,
I don't think they're gonna probably change anything. And is this just going forward so if you can catch
Yes.
another one?
yes,
So, I mean, I think you approve it and you've got all of your account numbers on that, but, did they, in layman's terms, did they tell you what this means?
basically what has happened is we had, 3 checks.
We actually had, basically, can I summarize?
Yes, go for it.
It looks like in September, Julie recognized there were 5 checks that you guys didn't write.
Right.
Forgeries. 3 of them had 3 of the numbers had previously been legitimately issued, cashed by somebody else, and they have just kind of washed those and forged those. And if you look, it's your exact same signature, whatever you want. They have mirrored that on all the checks. 2 of them then are still in your possession. You haven't even gotten to those check numbers yet.
Right.
But all 5 are forgeries, frauds, and so you're basically reporting that. The bank has apparently agreed to reimburse you guys, but they need the evidence to take to a prosecutor or anything else about what has occurred here.
Right.
That basically makes sense?
Yes. With that, they offer something called positive pay. And this must be going on in a lot of municipalities because I'm seeing this come up on all my clerks' sites a lot. Basically what this agreement will do is when I write checks, I submit a list to the bank. And so they will verify the check number, who it's to, and the amount when it's presented. And if that doesn't match, then they will deny that check so that we don't go through this going forward. It costs $20 per month for no matter how many accounts we have. But I will say that we do have to, we only had to close one account, and I have to buy new checks and all of that stuff to get that started. But I did give them a list that's not included with this, but of all of the checks that I've written, including these claims that have not been mailed yet. So that they can compare those on the old account. And then you'll have to go down and sign for a new bank account tomorrow, and so will I. So that's where we're at, but that's what this agreement is going forward, to be able to do that as a double check.
So you need a motion to accept this, or?
To approve that.
Yeah, if you don't have questions, yes.
Just because it's a money expense and so forth, so.
Well, I think we need it, 'cause I mean, I make a motion, we
This-
accept the agreement.
This was Wayne Banks, so.
Okay.
Second.
Positive pay agreement, I think it's called.
Yeah.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
None opposed, that motion passes to,
And I don't think you guys need to vote to approve and authorize Julie to report on the fraud. I mean, that's part of her job as clerk
Right.
treasurer, so I think that's all right. And you saw where you guys sign off those things.
Yes.
And I just tweaked some of that to, just right off the bat, I wanted to say 5 checks were discovered which had not been written by the town. And then
Okay.
talk about the 3 and the 2, and so I think you can.
Okay,
read my mind.
yes, I can do that.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
okay, I'm still stalling, but we're gonna be stalling out pretty soon, so.
Well, we still have to have the party.
Well, that's true, but we won't have that during our guest session, so.
Party.
It's
Our
our
birthdays.
birthday.
Oh, it's both of your birthdays?
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank
both
you.
of you.
Okay, we'll move on to claims if there's no other new business. Just for the folks at home, just remember that trick or treat hours will be on the 31st of this month from 6 to 8 here in the town limits of Dublin. And please have your porch lights on, nice and bright, and it'd be preferred if you had your door to your home open, or actually be sitting on the front porch so it looks welcoming for the kids, so we don't have the stranger danger thing going on. So try and make it a good event for the kids, so hopefully the weather will be nice, but we can't predict that yet. I had a couple of questions on claims, Julie.
Yes.
On page number 2, at the very bottom left, is that a typo on the very bottom where it says vendor 463? And the date right there, you got 01, this page here.
That page there? No, that's one that I had to correct, and because I corrected it, it had to be put back on this claim docket.
So that was from
So
January?
that was from January.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure on that. And then the other one, was that the price just for that particular calling, or was this multiple bills on just one title?
Yeah, that's not just flowers.
Okay.
I can go back and get you.
That's fine, just make sure.
It's just, it's all under the
Category.
donation category.
Okay.
It only picks up the first so many words.
Gotcha.
Because I believe I had two flowers, and then I had something else that came out of the donation.
Gotcha. Anyone have any other questions?
I make a motion to accept the claims as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. No opposal, that motion will pass to accept the claims and pay the bills. Last up will be the financial report. Anything out of the ordinary we should be concerned with as it gets toward the end of the year?
So far, so good.
Good.
Make a motion to accept the claims or the financial.
Okay, motion to accept financial report, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
None opposed, that motion passes. Any final thoughts?
Lawnmower man's back at it again.
Okay.
He quit for a while. I saw him walking.
I haven't never seen the lawnmower guy. I must be
Because he
missing
goes
out.
up and down Johnson to the mini mart, back and forth.
And then he also,
Goes to the
he
fish shop.
goes to Highway Springs.
They're on a
He
mower.
comes down my alley.
It's no longer a mower, it has no deck.
Well, I know, but that far on a,
He pulls a little trailer on the back of it and it's full of about 20 fishing poles. He's serious about
We
his
just had this
fishing.
conversation today. He's just serious,
Serious fisher.
serious fisher.
what is there to fight that with legally, Bob?
I'll have to look at your stuff as far as.
Well, it's just like a four-wheeler, there's no license plates, no
Yeah.
insurance.
If it doesn't meet your requirements of code, then
It's
it's
not like-
shouldn't be on the street.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess because the deck is off of it, we can say it's not a mower.
Well, I'm
He's
not
not
even
going
sure,
to mow, I mean,
yeah, I'm not even sure, do you allow mowers in your streets?
I drive mine sometimes.
well, it's
on
not
the street.
enforced and people are actually going
Yeah, I
to
mean,
mow.
I take mine from the house up here to get gas and take it back
Yeah.
down. And a lot of people do that now that we have a
Yeah.
gas station.
But
But I,
It just seems like
I
he's
still
using
have
that
my
as
deck.
a vehicle, I guess.
yes,
He goes and gets his pop and goes to the mini mart multiple times a day.
I don't know, would it be legal if he got it plated and followed all the golf cart rules?
If it meet the requirement, you have a golf cart?
Yes.
You do have the golf cart ordinance section.
And it's very specific to, it's only golf carts.
yes, because we had mopeds and golf carts
Right.
and then the state took the the mopeds away from us, so.
Yeah.
See if there's anybody else in the neighborhood that has an ordinance or thinks about stuff like that, I guess.
Well, I mean, you get also, I mean, you've got
What's
four-wheeler
that?
ordinances, you've got golf cart ordinances, you've got,
Side by side.
yeah, and so different towns will handle things differently. And, some will just follow whatever the state guidelines are, which is really just for the state roadways, and let things go crazy on their own streets. And so, but I would guessing that, there's some place in here, and I haven't had a chance to look at it since I just heard about this, that will find something that he is doing something that is prohibited. So let me find out what that is, and then give him a warning, and then start citing him and fining him.
I mean, to go back in history, mowers have been allowed to frequent the streets before golf carts became popular, so. But things have changed because we have so many personal vehicles and ATVs and golf carts and stuff on the street now.
Yeah, what your
needs
section
to
is
be-
called golf carts, mopeds, and scooters.
Yes. And on that one, make sure you're,
Aye.
yes, please.
Aye.
I, on the budget, not a yet, not an A, but you're approving it, not.
You know, ATV.
Yeah, Milton must have had a lot of questions for him, huh?
They put them on
Doing a
the
lot of
agenda.
begging.
That's the very bottom,
Yeah,
so
put
they'd be
it
gone
on
by
the
the time
agenda.
they started talking.
Looks like more than nine we have all year.
Probably. But we did good, we got it done in an hour.
I'm surprised.
It's always my goal, was an hour.
I know. Or less.
I suppose how you would handle this is you specifically authorize golf carts, mopeds, and scooters. And then if it falls, and anything else is a violation. If it meets one of those, then you've got all these requirements of how they have to comply. And so he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place that, okay, if he tries to say it qualifies as a golf cart, moped, and scooter, then he has to meet all of these, like the license and everything. If it doesn't qualify as a golf cart, moped, or scooter, then it's just prohibited on the street. You probably have held a blind eye to technically the riding lawnmowers. So if you want to allow a lawnmower that's being used for lawnmower purposes, we probably ought to put it in this chapter.
We need to.
Otherwise, then he could argue, well, it's a lawnmower, it's just not, doesn't have a deck on it right now, but it's still a
But it's not a
lawnmower.
lawnmower.
Yeah, so, you would need to then define lawnmower and say it's something that still has a deck, that's capable, and that its use is being used to move from one place to another. I mean, do you really want people using lawnmowers just to go get their groceries?
No.
I don't think so. So I think we would need to define what is it that you really want to allow, and thereby what isn't allowed. So we would have a new lawnmower section of this chapter.
Well, it
I
might
don't know
not,
if we need to go that far. I mean, he just is told, this is not a lawnmower anymore, it's not a street authorized vehicle.
Well, but right now, you don't even have a thing that says allows lawnmowers.
Right, but you said the other three, he doesn't meet those requirements.
But what he's saying is, right now,
There's nothing on the books. Yeah.
I'm riding from my house to here to get
Right now,
gas.
she's probably in
I'm bad.
violation of city, of town code.
And all the other people
Right,
that
and
are
we
using
overlooked
it.
that for
But
people
if-
that are actually mowing.
But what he's going to say is, if you're overlooking that, why aren't you overlooking mine?
And
So
you
it
have
has
nothing
to
to
be.
go on.
Yeah, yeah, specified, yeah.
It's
I
one
mean,
of
people
those.
right around some parts of town get a little bit too.
Yeah,
So if you want to continue to have that blind eye, but yet you also want to cite him, we can't do it the way it is
Right.
right now.
right.
but if we're digging into this, I'm not sure we don't need to possibly have a discussion about snowmobiles as well. You know, if it becomes a disaster, or the only thing that you
Foresee
can
snow in the
transport on it,
future.
that, you know, can they be used for emergencies?
Yeah, I mean, if it snowed enough, they could use them on the streets. Unless you have something to do.
So, I mean, it kind of falls in the same category, I think.
Yeah. It's just how detailed you want to get.
I don't think you-
Doesn't it say something about, you know, to be on the streets, you have to have license, insurance?
If it is a golf cart, moped, or a scooter.
If you can require it, yeah.
And everything else, there's no restriction, well, there's no regulations on it because it's just flat out prohibited.
So what he's saying is even lawnmowers are prohibited
Yeah.
if you're going to get gas at the gas station. I guess that's how deep we want to get into it.
Exactly.
But is a lawnmower without a deck still a lawnmower? I don't consider that a lawnmower.
Right, but if I take my deck off to clean it, and I still need to go down and get gas and come back and I put my deck back on, I don't do that, but I have a neighbor that works on his, and his deck is off, but it's actually his lawnmower that he puts the deck back on. You see where I'm going with that? But I understand that this would be considered habitual because it's all the time.
Is there a different avenue, like when it goes past your house, does it not have a muffler on it? So it meets a noise ordinance.
You get a kid around.
I just feel it's not
If
allowed on
we're
the road.
requiring it,
If
yeah.
he runs into Kelly's vehicle, who's gonna pay for that?
Well, he'd still be civilly liable.
But he doesn't have insurance, he doesn't work, I mean, good luck getting him to pay for anything if there's an accident.
That's basic kid on a bicycle.
Yeah, right, hits a
Yeah.
kid on the bike.
Or he hits, or a bicycle hits a car, you know,
Yeah, but
yeah, I mean, it's just.
he's driving it as a vehicle, if he's in an accident, he has no insurance.
Yeah.
Or a driver's license.
I don't know, see what you can come up with, Bob, see if there's anything in the world out there that's,
Well, you tell me, I can write it any way that you
well, I
want.
don't know if you've had, like, the same conversation with Richmond or something that's,
Talking about illegal
Mowers.
driving of lawnmowers,
Yeah.
no, I cannot say I have talked to anybody else about illegal driving of lawnmowers. So,
We're the first.
yeah.
Kentucky. I met the lawyers in Kentucky, know all about it. I do agree with Julie, if you are actively mowing, going to get gas, going to mow, I think that's acceptable.
And I guess if you do want to add another chapter about lawnmowers, do you want all of the same rules to apply that you have for golf cart, moped, and scooters? Like right now, we say a person operating a golf cart, moped, or scooter shall register it with the town. They shall also carry proof of insurance. If it's being used at night, they'll have sufficient lighting and reflectors on it. You know, that it cannot be used by any child under the age of 10. It can only have one person on it at a time. Shall not ride more than 2 abreast. Cannot create loud noises. How many of those can't go faster than 25 miles an hour? So it's just a matter of, if you do have the new chapter on lawnmowers, tell me what you want in it. Like, it has to have a deck, or if you're still gonna go get gas, you can take the deck off. I just want it
Well,
clear.
it has to be for mowing purposes, for yard work, maintenance purposes.
Okay. And while you're driving it, it has to be going from one place to, because he could still say, well, yeah, this is even though it doesn't have the deck on it, it is for lawn mowing purposes. I'm just not using it for that today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm fishing.
and he
Yeah.
pulls a cart, he could be saying, I'm pulling a cart in my yard to pick up sticks. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so hard. to
It's
determine.
one of those gray areas.
Yeah. You can make it as complicated as you want, you know.
I see where you're going with it, and I agree with your concerns. I can just see the other side. They don't have anything, because I know people in Cambridge take theirs, but I don't know that I've ever seen anybody at Shell that doesn't have a deck on it. I've never paid attention.
I've just seen them mow, mow up and get fuel
Uh-huh.
close by, and that's it.
I am guessing they don't have anything on it, and they've just been a blind eye there too.
Yeah.
Because nobody's abused it.
Here's-
That's
If you're
that's the
gonna
problem with
allow
all
that
this
as a
stuff.
vehicle.
As long as nobody abuses things, it's easy to turn a blind eye.
Right.
When somebody starts abusing it, it's when you get into problems that it causes you to unnecessarily go into details.
If you're gonna allow that as a motorized vehicle on the streets, then you need to allow other motorized vehicles on the streets.
Go further with that, you're saying
If
not.
you're gonna allow that's a four-wheel motorized vehicle,
Mhm.
then you need to allow four-wheelers. You need to allow the kids, what are the kids' cars? The kids, what, you know, the little kids'
Battery operated-
Jeeps.
yeah, battery
Yeah, that's a
operated, yeah.
four-wheel motorized vehicle. I don't want those on the street,
I gotcha. I never thought about the kid stuff.
Yeah.
because to me, that's the same, exact same thing. It's a four-wheel motorized vehicle.
Although you can put an age requirement on it so the kids can't.
Well, true. But
Because you already have that on here.
what's the difference between an ATV than a four-wheel mower without a deck? And what's the difference?
And we don't do the mopeds and the scooters anymore because the state took that over.
So it's just
we
golf
need it.
carts.
Yeah, it's just golf carts now.
And the states do the side-by-side. The state does the side-by-sides.
Well, Mr. President, anything else?
Well, because like basically, you know what you're saying is if you're gonna allow that, I mean, why do we even have a license plate on a golf cart?
Exactly. Why does the golf carts have to pay a fee and carry insurance?
I get exactly what you're saying.
I can change pulleys on a lawnmower and make it go faster than a golf cart.
Mine doesn't, I know that.
I guess we'll continue the conversation,
That
think
sounds
some
good.
ideas up, but
I will hold on to it anyway.
I'm sure it's gonna slow down as it gets colder, I would think. But is it a daily thing, weekly thing?
Multiple times a day, and then I thought maybe someone talked to him because they quit for a couple weeks.
Do you feel there's any alcohol involved?
No, I don't think so. But now it's back to daily.
Okay. We'll keep talking about it. Other than that, that's all I got. If anybody has nothing else, we'll adjourn the meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Closed. See you next month.